Good morning, everyone. Morning, morning, morning. It is, what is it? It's Monday, June 17th. Wow. So, uh, first and foremost, very interesting week ahead because what we've got is a few things, right? So, first and foremost, it is quad witch, right? Which means that futures are going to be, they're going to be rolling over. So the heavier volume is now on the U contract, which is the September, and that's the one that I'm going to be trading. So the numbers that I'm going to be talking about today are going to be based on the U contract. So they officially expire at the end of the day on Friday, and we roll them over. We roll them over every quarter, and we also have options that expire, quarterly options that expire on that day. So these rollover weeks generally are kind of iffy because the volume is fairly heavy right now on both. It's split fairly evenly. So there's just a lot of volume on two different contracts. It doesn't really go anywhere, so there's going to be a little more chop realistically. And going into the quad witch and into the June expiration, there's going to be a little more volatility. The other thing to add to this is that on the 19th, on Wednesday, right in the middle of the week, the market's going to be closed. So the futures, I think they stay open until about like 1 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But the volume's going to be garbage. It's going to be very low, and then they're going to reopen again on Wednesday night, I believe. Well, I guess like the Thursday Globex session. So very very weird week setting up. Right, Wednesday's going to be just shut down pretty much. I'm not going to be doing anything in terms of trading or looking at these markets because that low volume, low volatility, low movement is rookie stuff, right? Noobs only trade that. So to start off the week, right, we've got a very very weird week. Not too much news surrounding that otherwise. Now, one of the one of the main news events over the past week, we can say weekend, whatever it was, the recently approved compensation package for Tesla CEO Elon Musk, right? It's brought a lot of discussion of executive pay back on the table, while its eye-popping figures are making massive headlines right now. Even I was like, I had to double take. I'm like, is that a B or an M? So legal hurdles still remain, but shareholders reaffirmed the support for a 10-year plan valued at 47 or 48 billion dollars at the current share price after a judge in Delaware challenged the stock awards. So it'll make one of the world's richest people even richer, but investors seem to think that it's all worth it, with 77% of shareholders re-ratifying the pay package. So supporters of the proposal argued that Tesla had fallen as its priority for Elon Musk, who has been spending a lot of time on other ventures like X, SpaceX, Starlink, Neuralink, the Boring Company, XAI, right? Everything but Tesla, it seems. The thinking here is that the stock awards would keep him highly motivated despite the growing challenges of developing an affordable mass market vehicle or diversifying into other verticals. So earlier this year, Musk threatened to develop products outside of Tesla that would be uncomfortable growing Tesla into a leader in AI and robotics without having a 25% voting control. So if you compare this to the median CEO pay at S&P 500 companies, which has risen about 10 to 12% in 2024, according to the ISS corporate, which is far less than the 4% year over year increase of US wages growth. So the annual median CEO pay also runs at about $16.3 million, or hundreds of times larger than the pay of the median workers. So this is largely due to executive pay that has become more connected to stock options and asset-based incentives, which are approved by company boards to please their investors. So in fact, Tesla did not pay Elon Musk a base salary since 2019, instead opting for performance rewards like ones featured in his controversial pay package. So much of the criticism does surround excessive executive compensation has centered around income inequality, and that has failed to make a dent in the real world. Like, bigger problems could surface if rank and file employees perceive that pay ratios are unfair, which can weigh on quality, reliability, as well as loyalty, or lead to other problems for failing to emphasize important considerations or risks outside of the company's stock price. So the courts are now getting involved as they see with the case in Tesla, which claims unreasonableness inside insider ties, and breach of fiduciary duties. So we'll see how this unravels, but realistically, everything is kind of all eyes are pretty much on this for now. Well, not all eyes, but a lot of eyes are. So part of the drama that surrounds Elon Musk's pay package was a separate shareholder vote to reincorporate Tesla in Texas. And the move is being seen as an effort to challenge Delaware's dominance in the industry and may bolster the opinion that the state's shareholders' protections are excessive. So about 2/3 of companies in the S&P are incorporated in Delaware. So that's a lot. Partly because of the Chancery Court that has an extensive record of legal proceedings and legal precedents. So Texas has worked to win over firms with assurance of lower taxes and recent establishment of its own specialized court system for businesses. So we'll see how that shapes up. Tesla's stock gapped higher on that news last week, but since it's been pulling lower. It's been in a consolidative period for a very extended amount of time, realistically, which is fairly interesting here, as other big tech names have just been continuously rallying. So last week we saw the Federal Reserve as well, and it's well poised to keep an eye on economic data and be patient, right, according to Kashkari, who feels that the first cut will happen at the end of the year. So even with last week's Fed report, we kept rates as is. There's a meeting at the end of July, the last day of July, which is now pretty much pricing in a 90% chance they continue to keep rates as is. The Fed dot plot increased, right? Year-end target was 4.6%, now 5.1%, which prices in just one rate cut. Kashkari said we need to see more evidence to convince us that inflation is well on its way back down to 2%. We're in a very good position right now to take our time before we make decisions. And the Fed's monetary policymakers last week, they dropped their forecast from 3 down to 1 previously from March. We also had, what was it? You also see like U.S. yields right now, like the 10-year note or the 10-year yields are pulling down, which is helping the Fed in terms of not cutting too soon. Now, today, to start the week, we want to take it slow. We want to see what's going on. I really want to wait to see how the market does shape up. Looking at the S&P 500 with the U chart, right, the U contract, there is a pretty strong distribution top that sits around 5508 area on the SPOOs. The bottom band of the distribution sits somewhere around 54, like 82. So as long as price maintains there, right, there is the coiling for another expansion higher. What I'd like to see this week, which again is going to be harder on a shorter week and a wonkier week, is if we actually pull down and clean up more of the auction for better buyers to step in, which could be around 54.65 and all the way down into 54.40 to 45 area. So that's what I'll be watching. That's what I'll be hoping for, so we can pick that thing up. But honestly, still holding bullish. I don't see a crazy case to just start selling into these all-time highs and wait for a massive drop until distributions break. Meaning, if we start moving below this 54.72, fine, right? We can start looking for a little more downside, especially if we close under 54.45. But until that happens, right, most of these dips are most likely going to get picked up as we lead into volatility coming into the end of the week. So, let's open up our live trading room, and we'll see what's cooking in there. We'll do that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow and the remainder of the week to kind of navigate throughout this. So enjoy, have a good start to the week, wish you all the best, and check out community.tradeproacademy.com for our open Discord.